This is the back counter store, artist. You will have these inside your stations, your supply stations. If you open them up, there's your markers. Make sure that you snap that cap, let your marker take a nap, and those go back in the bottom drawer. If you need extras, they're always facing down. You can come back and get them. Please make sure that these are not filled too full. Thank you. Okay, this is the second step. You've already practiced. You had this sheet that you went over, and you can decide what you want yours to look like. And then we have our real project paper. Make sure that you always put your name on the bottom left, and that you draw light. I have a tendency to draw darker when I have my having the Elmo on so that you can see it. Fourth grade, what you're going to do is you're going to take your abstract portrait, which is based off of Cubism, which was inspired by Picasso. Another artist we're going to talk about is Roy Lichtenstein. You remember he was inspired by Picasso. This is some of his artwork that we've already talked about. And basically he was inspired also by comic strips that were blown up. So here's my project that I finished. You decide how you want it. Then you're going to take a Sharpie, because we're fancy. You can get a messy mat so you don't get permanent marker on. And what I want you to do, artist, don't press hard. But you're going to go over every single line. And then if you don't want to use a black Sharpie, you don't have to. I've already showed you where the markers are. You can use a marker to outline it, and you're going to give it to the Roy Lichtenstein effect, meaning you're going to have dots on there. You're going to use markers. You're going to color them in with these color pencils, that are amazing. So I'll show you the next step after that. I will draw this, then I will erase it with my pencil. I'm sorry, I will erase it with my eraser. Messy mats look like this. Make sure you put your name here. Another thing that you can add is maybe there's a word that describes you, or you can have a background. Remember, he was inspired by comics. I will leave that up to you. Now I'm going to erase. Make sure you tap it. See all the mess I have? Tap it on your messy mat. Be careful. And then throw that in the trash. Meaning, take this now and pick that up and put the little the dust stuff in the trash, not the mat. Looking at this, I didn't think about it. You don't need your name right here, actually, artist. And then you're going to choose colors that you want. If the marker doesn't work, you can get a scrap piece of paper, test it first. There's more at the store. You can outline. You can put your marker on the side, and it creates a big line like that, okay, to give you the border. And then when you're doing the Roy Lichtenstein, because he was known for his dots, you have choices of what you can do. You can very carefully, and don't press hard. I like the way that looks, frames in my shirt. You can put little dots, circles. You can put just little dots like this. You can have big dots, little dots. You want to fill in your space, okay? And you can do this whole thing with little dots, big dots. Remember, he's known for his dots because it looks like a comic strip was blown up. After you've done with this, what I want you to do, artist, is to find your colored pencil, choose the same color as what I would recommend, unless you want to do it differently. You would fill this whole thing in. You want to color gently with these. And then you want to fill, we call this coloring ooh la la. You've already outlined your space, and you go back and forth with little lines, okay? And now it gives the illusion of the Roy Lichtenstein. So add color, baby, color. I'm excited to see what these look like. Here's another example, artist. A lot of you will use a marker and it doesn't look that good, and it ruins your project because you really want to stand out. So this marker would go in the trash and outline it. Another thing, you don't have to have big dots. You can vary it, meaning maybe I want to fill this whole thing with tiny little dots. Some of your white space can also be considered your artwork. It doesn't have to all be colored in. I do ask one thing. Please do not fill in with a Sharpie because they're expensive. And the inside here, I could do it colored green. There we go. One more thing I want to point out, artists, you don't have to have all dots on everything. Some of it can be colored in solid, and you go back in with the Sharpie and add your extra detail lines. And this is what I was mentioning. If you want to put a little comic strip up there, make sure you spell it right. Another tip, artist, if you use a marker on its side, it will color quicker. Remember, if it runs out, you throw it away. And I've got my quote, I'm sorry, I've got my little comic on top. Artists, I want you to know that Mrs. Milligan is not purple, just if you're wondering, but this is called abstract, and that's what's fun. You can use the other color pencils that are in the drawer if you want to. You can leave white space as your background. And when I come back in and I look at my hair, maybe I want to come back and use my Sharpie and add a little bit, couple more lines, just a few lines here to create my hair. You can color the background or leave it blank. It's up to you.